I always appreciate Sarah Palin's political commentary because she tends to look at the world of politics through a more alternate lens than the rest of us. So she decided to weigh in on the 2016 election and share her reasons as to why she thinks Donald Trump was victorious over Hillary Clinton. Now, is she going to talk about how Hillary Clinton failed to appeal to working class voters? No. Is she going to talk about how Trump maybe was successful because he championed economic protectionism? No, she's not going to talk about that either. This is Sarah Palin's theory as to why Donald Trump was successful. Sarah Palin has insisted God intervened in the U.S. election, and Donald Trump's victory was partially prompted by people praying to God that U.S. citizens should, quote, wake up. No doubt, divine providence played a huge role in this election, she told listeners on Breitbart News Daily's radio show. I will boldly proclaim that I saw it firsthand. I was there on the campaign trail. I saw how things were changing. I saw more and more people's eyes open, and I think so much of that was based on the church in general. Those people of faith who were praying to God that people would wake up. Remember, our founders dedicated this land, this new country that would be America, this idea of America, they dedicated it to God. If I were president, I'd rededicate us to God. Prayer warriors across the country, people who perhaps had never expressed their faith in a higher being before, knew that, geez, we gotta be on our knees, oh God, asking for a change here, because we're going down the wrong road. She later added, I was so grateful to see so many people step up in that realm. Now, if you think that's weird, well, you're just wrong, because she's not alone in that opinion. There are other people who agree with her, and I think that the analysis from Michele Bachmann really explains it well.
Then you look along the timeline, and exactly, this is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We went on the air.
That's when we went on Daystar.
We went on Daystar.
Thank you, Marcus Lamb, right there.
At 7:30 at night, we went on the air, but we have a prayer room here. Yeah. We had people all across the United States joining with our prayer room here in Dallas in prayer, and look what happened. This was the moment when the whole race broke, when prayer began, the church came out, and then we see a 30-point swing here, a 30-point swing here, and now we see the swing to 95% chance of winning Trump, 5% chance of winning Clinton. It's phenomenal. This graphic that was produced by the New York Times should tell believers and pastors the power of prayer, the power of action. And here it is, a graphic. The night isn't even over. The decision hasn't even been fully made yet about the presidency. And
already we know that the glory goes to the God Almighty, the God of the universe, the sovereign Lord.
He is the one who did this for us.
Alrighty then.
We're so high right now. We're not low.
There you have it. Sarah Palin, Michele Bachmann. They claim that, it wasn't about demographic differences. It wasn't about, voter turnout. God did it. God is responsible for this election. So I'm going to accept your theory for a minute. Let's assume that God does in fact exist and that divine intervention was what led to Donald Trump's electoral success. So let me ask you this. If there really is power in prayer, why don't you guys pray that the limbs of amputees will grow back? Is that so absurd to ask? I mean, if really God is omnipotent and he walked on water, anything is possible, right? Is it not? So why don't churches come together and do what they did for this election and pray for the limbs of every amputee in the world to grow back? I mean, do you pray that you can fly? Again, if God is omnipotent, anything is possible. So do you pray to get special flying abilities? And also, I have a question for you. So you guys told us that God wanted Mitt Romney to win in 2012. So you prayed then for Obama to be defeated, but he wasn't. So why was it that God chose Obama then, but Donald Trump now? Why is it that God preferred the candidate that said he wanted to kill civilians in Middle East and North African countries? And furthermore, I mean, if you really can pray for anything, and God is your personal genie, look, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl that looked good. I would call her. Okay, I'm going to get a copyright strike. But, I mean, the point is that if anything is possible through God, why do you limit yourself to what you ask? Why ask him about trivial things like the American election? Why not ask him to save the planet? Why do you ask for things that are only within the realm of possibility? And what about the people that prayed for Hillary Clinton to win? Does God just base his decision off of the plurality of prayers that come in and support one candidate over the other, or is the process more nuanced? I mean, these questions might sound ridiculous, but if you really accept the position that Sarah Palin and Michele Bachmann have and follow it to its logical extreme, then these are things that are reasonable to ask. These are reasonable questions to have about religion and God and divine intervention. Why can't I pray to fly? And what's funny is that whenever I talk about religion, my international viewers will chime in and be like, okay, I feel like you guys are kind of exaggerating a little bit when you talk about the extent to which this is prevalent in America, but it's very prevalent. Everyone knows at least one person that is this level of fundamentalists, right? We all have someone in our family, a crazy uncle. We all know someone who is this detached from reality. We have to worry about this because Sarah Palin may very well serve in Donald Trump's administration. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to watch them because this level of crazy is in the White House. The monkeys have taken over the zoo. And we need to be very wary about what they might actually do if they truly do believe that they're following out the will of God.
At a meeting with Palestinian leaders in June 2003, then President Bush reportedly having claimed that God told him to go to war. Mr. Bush reported as having said, quote, God would tell me, George, go and fight those terrorists in Afghanistan, and I did. And then God would tell me, George, go and end the tyranny in Iraq, and I did.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.